And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Woo! Sing it, Ric Flair. Okay, nothing. Okay, there we go. People are looking in now as we go live to this. It's amateur radio amplified on 100 Watts and a Wire. It's Christian, and Steve came back and was like, part of my contract is I'm going to need to be wearing my sunglasses. And I was like, well, bitch, I got sunglasses too. And then Scotty's like, no, I got some sunglasses too, so we're all going to wear them. If he's going to wear them, I'm going to wear them. So that's why we're pompous right now. So if you've got some sunglasses, go ahead and put those on. Mine are so scratched up and fingered up, I can't even see well out of them. And a bunch of old dudes now wearing their glasses. Scotty's like, I can't see anything. I can't see. But we look cool.
I can't see anything.
I can't see anything. But yeah, I don't know.
Where you guys at?
I don't even know if we look cool. I don't know. But
We look like fools, what we look like.
Welcome to episode number 405, you guys. Whether you're an experienced ham radio operator or just getting started, this podcast was created to mentor, entertain, and provide a community for ham radio operators to come together. We do this Sunday nights at 6 o'clock Central Time. We try to hang out. I don't know. There was also some talks of medicinal, what do they call it, Scotty? The weed? I don't know. I don't know. What do the kids call it now?
You can't keep up. I can't keep track of all the
ush
different
cushy,
slang for the things.
Ushy cushy, the purple urples. I don't know. Steve's out there where it's been legal for a long time. I don't know.
West Coast boy, he would know all about that.
He would know about all that stuff. But tune in to us on Sundays if you can. And we'll look like this at some of the time. All right? So there you go. I don't know how long we'll wear these glasses, but if Steve's going to do it, then I'm going to do it. And Scotty's going to do it because we can't be one-ups.
So I'm going to have to switch them out. Otherwise, I can't see a goddamn thing.
Can't see anything. How are we going to work? We're just like, hey. Good Lord.
Oh,
okay,
man.
Okay. We're all going to this actually is Brad.
Whoa, look at that.
Wow, look at
Hi,
these
guys.
lights. Look at all these things. Diva Steve is here, W7UDI, Scotty, KC3BXN.
Super.
My name is Christian, and my call sign's K0STH. We're happy to have you here. We've got a few topics that we'd like to hear from you. We're going to be sharing some ham radio, Hamvention stories, and, you know, it's kind of one of those things where everybody should probably get out to the Dayton Hamvention at least one time to experience it. And the three of us did not make it out this year for various reasons, but it's on our topic list of things to talk about. If you have a question, put a Q in front of it, and we will do our best to answer those. We've got some coming up later in this episode we'll try to tackle. For anybody who may be struggling with a question, and we'll give it a shot. We'll also talk about the tune-up, the 100 Watts and a Wire tune-up. That's June 9th, 10th, and 11th. You can transmit any mode, any time, any band, whatever you want to do, get on the air
Any
calls.
power, whatever you want.
Any power, and post up in our Discord server, and we'll come work you. It's a chance for us to get out and get portable if you can, but you can do it from the comfort of your own shack. We encourage you, just get on the air. It's an excuse to do that. We'll also talk about some portable creature comforts. Steve wanted to know what other people were using as a creature comfort when you go out. You know, we're all of a certain age, and camping has come up with my kids. I have a hard time sleeping on the ground anymore. It just hurts my body to do that. But when we go out and operate portable or we're camping, what are those creature comforts? Share with us in the chat. But let's catch up with the guys. It's been a minute, and so we want to catch up and see what's going on. What's going on out west with you, Steve? Anything new?
Oh, it's been hot. It's been just a warm today. Finally, we kind of got back down into the 70s, but it's been cooking, and along with the heat and humidity, we have a lot of lightning, and for the last few days, it's been pretty wild. It's, as my wife would say, heck, it's like being in Kansas.
Oh, wow. That sounds like it. Well, I know you have some family. You got some people out there, right? And that's not too very far from where I am. We definitely have 81 degrees today as we go to game time, 6 o'clock here, Central Time. It was nice though. I mean, you had a nice little breeze in the shade. It was really nice. But I feel you on those hot temperatures. We went from rain, 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 day after day, lightning and rain and whatever, to 92. How you like that? And we're like, geez, don't like it. Sinuses and all that.
Here, have some steamy Gordos.
Have this.
Yeah.
Don't like the Gordo Express. Right over your head there. Scotty, what about
Hot
you?
Gordos over here. Hot Gordos.
Everybody.
Get your hot Gordos here.
Get your hot
It's been,
Gordos.
it's been a little. It's been kind of cool this past week. Just today, it kind of got back into the upper 70s. This is quite lovely. Doing some walking on Main Street, but we've been below, I guess, slightly below average temps for our average this time of the year.
Okay.
But haven't had much rain. It's been nice and cool and dry, and yeah,
Nice and cool
unlike
and dry.
steamy northwest.
Unlike the
usually we get the
Gordos.
steamy weather here in the mid Atlantic, but not yet. It's coming though. I know it's coming.
Oh, man. I'm reminded. This reminds me of a funny scene from The Sopranos. And Tony goes and meets up with one of the boys. And I think it's one of the guys from the New York crew. And he's like, hey, how's things in Florida? And he's like, hot and steamy like my balls. That's the thing from The Sopranos. And Tony just gives him a look like, damn, okay. All right. Well, this weekend was the big, usually ends around 1 o'clock on Sundays, as from what I remember. And it is a big to-do. I know Steve had plans, usually almost every year that I've known Steve over the last decade. He goes to the Dayton Hamvention, and it is a place where we've always talked about camaraderie, hanging out with the fellas. And sometimes that's the best part of it, I think. Steve, we're going to talk a little bit about this. I know Scotty's still getting it on his to-do list, and hopefully maybe we can all go together at some point. It would be really fun to do 100 watts and wire type of gathering at that big Hamvention. It's one of the big ones. People have called it Mecca in the past. What does it do for you, Steve?
Oh yeah, it's just it's for me. It's like 4 days of ham geekdom. I got a chance to just get my geek on and go out and enjoy the hobby, the people, and the vendors and the exhibitors. You name it all. Just being around everybody in the hobby and being around just a group of people that we all share the same passion and the hobby together. So it's a fun time. The Greene County Fairgrounds, a great place to be there. It's really, really cool. I mean, Hera was awesome unto its own right, but it was having some issues there in the last few years. But there's a lot of history at the old Hera Arena. But now where it's at the Greene County Fairgrounds, it's new traditions are being made. But it's a great place to hang out for 3 or 4 days, however long you're there in the Dayton area.
Share your stories with us if you have any highlights from past years. Some of the ones that stick out from, you mentioned the old Hera Arena, and that was an interesting venue. And, there's some stories that go with that. It used to be an old hockey stadium. And then I don't know how many years ago, but it seems like maybe 4 now, Steve, where was it a tornado that came and just kind of, there was
Took it out, yeah.
Took it out. Like it wasn't even, of that period, there was talks of before the move and then after the move to Xenia, which is, I think, about 30 minutes further out. But I really liked it. It is a really nice place. But there was talk about Hera Arena, and there was always this sort of talk about, well, maybe they'll bring it back and we go there because, change isn't good for a lot of people. And certainly hams were not like, I don't know, all these good things, it's tradition. And moving it to Xenia was not accepted universally at first, and there was some talk about, well, the bank owns Hera now, and then maybe it'll get revamped, and there was always like this glimmer of hope that Hera Arena was going to come back and host us again one day. I don't know. You remember feeling that, Steve?
Oh yeah, no, it was always So it was 2016 was the last time Hamvention was held at Hare Arena. And it was always the year, 15 and 14, there was always, oh yeah, we're going to revamp it. In fact, they, I think 15, they had a signage up, and they said, yeah, we're going to revamp this place. Here's some artist renditions of how it's going to be. We're going to fix it all up. And it was kind of like, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. And then finally in 16 was the last one. And then shortly after, it was in August, I think, of 16 when the family just said, we're done. And that was the end of Hare Arena. And then they scrambled to get down to Greene County Fairgrounds. And that point, it was, I remember being there the first year and was really taking it in, and okay, I like the change. But there was a lot of people that I talked to, and I just walk up to a couple OFs and just old guys and, hey, what do you think of it so far? I hate it. I wish we were back at Hare. And I was like, well, Hare is gone. It's not going to be here. So what do you think of this? This place sucks. And I was like, then what the F are you doing here? And it was just, there's many of us in our in our group here that they just don't want to change. They like the old ways, and it's like, well, come on, it's not going to be. And then a few years later, it was Mother Nature took care of it and said, nope, Hamvention is never going to be held at Hare Arena ever again. And now it's just a big asphalt parking lot. So
yeah,
it's
that was really strange. And it was like, oh wow, it was definitive. It was almost like, guys, no. And I got to say, I give Steve credit here. He's very like a realist. He's his man's man. I consider myself a realist too. It was like, we've moved. It's moved. Deal with that, and let's carry on. I don't know.
Let's carry on. Let's move forward and go from there and make it great. It's not going to be Hare. Enjoy what Hare was and have your memories. We all have our memories of Hare, whoever gone to Hare. But now we have Greene County Fairgrounds, and it is great. They are just bending over backwards to accommodate. And for once, hey, take it in and enjoy it. It's been a huge improvement in my opinion. But, haters will hate and always be there. So go suck it, haters.
Yeah. Ooh.
Jesus Christ.
Well, this man will say what he wants to say, and I'm going to let him do it. I'm not going to get in the way.
Who cares about the haters? I'm going to cool out.
Here we go with the glasses again. I'm going to have to get my aviators on.
It's in the contract.
I went, my first year was, I want to say 15, because I was doing some stuff with Hamnation there, and Bob invited me down to come, and he had all the connections. He had the parking and the access pass. It was all access, and I just was like, Bob Heil said, you better give me that hot dog and that extra large beer. And they were like, okay. Yes, sir. All right. Okay. And I remember getting so lost. None of that is true except for the stroke that Bob Heil has in the ham radio community. That part is true. But I don't eat hot dogs, so that was your giveaway. So the beer, Bob Heil said, buy a beer. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything, never do that. I went down there, and I remember being so turned around. Hello? Was that Bob? Is that you, Bob? Is that Bob calling? I don't know. I better get that quickly. That was, I better check. Just better make sure I get that call when it comes across there. I don't want to mess that up. I remember being so lost in Hare Arena. I was by myself, and I remember talking to Amanda she didn't go this year, and she was like, "Oh man, if I was there, I'd show you around. We would go around at least together." And I didn't have that first experience, and I ended up meeting you there on the setup. I think on a Wednesday. At the, what's that hotel? The Plaza, was it?
It was the Crown Plaza, and we did the Hamnation show from there on Wednesday night. So
That makes sense.
there at the Crown.
And it was great. There was pizza and people were there and the show was live. I've got some pictures. If I'd have thought about it, I would have posted them up. That was kind of a fun deal. But I met Sidecar there, a.k.a. Diva Steve. He's taking on Diva thing. I think he was named, weren't you named Diva by our 001%? We have one lady in the audience and she's named him Diva. Now look at him. He's got glasses. Let me show you his tech rider. What he needs. And Scotty, we'll get into that later. Steve was a little concerned that Scotty wasn't going to make the trip, as we say on the radio, because maybe he was getting his hair did. And I said, "What you mean?" He's like, "He's probably getting curls put in his hair." I was like, "I didn't pay for curls." He's goating me all up, like. So there is a bit of a dynamic
product
here
and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, I can't just water. In his thing, he just gets bottled water and maybe a sink. But yeah, I didn't know. But I remember getting so twisted up in Hera Arena. It was like this maze. And I'm like, where do I want to go? To Audio Row. That's where I wanted to go. And I needed coffee. I remember needing coffee, and the coffee wasn't ready, and I got so twisted up. And what I did love about Hera Arena was getting there early, like the day before, like Wednesday, and they're setting up on Thursday, and you could see all the vendors setting up inside this hockey arena, which was really cool. And you could kind of go touring through it. So the load-in, I guess you'd call it, was pretty cool part for me. My favorite, though, was the field out there in the flea market, man. And that was the coolest part of all of it. I remember thinking, like, you can get in, you may have even said that to me, you can buy all the things from the vendors online. Like, you can see it in person, and that's cool too, and you can kind of touch the knobs, if you will. But when you go out there to that flea market, you're like, it's rows and rows of just everything you love. It's imagine going to the flea market and seeing one helicraft or something on a table and going, this is rows of it. Like, don't even go spend your money yet, dude. You better do a lap because everybody here has everything you love. Like, and it's a bunch of men walking around with pudgies. How can I say that? To get that past HR.
Jesus Christ.
It's true. It's not a selling point, but everybody kind of deals with it. We all sort of know that we're all walking around. But anyhow, that was that. And the infamous story, I suppose, that everyone can't let go is the floating poop that came through. Mm-hmm. The story about. Do you know that one?
Volcano.
Do you know
I
that
was
one,
there.
Scotty?
I have heard of it. I heard this scenario. I was not there to witness it firsthand, however.
I don't remember.
I was there.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, it was just, right out in the parking lot, in the flea market, and all of a sudden here comes this eruption, and it was
A volcano.
it was an eruption. And it just started, and that part of the parking lot kind of had a little bit of a slope, and it just started heading downstream, and the brown trouts were just heading downstream, and
It's a long flume.
it was the craziest thing, and it was like, holy smokes. But I gotta hand it to the Hera folks and everything. So one of the things they had was they had lots of porta potties outside the flea market area, and so they were constantly being serviced, and the crew got onto it, and they started dealing with it. But if you kind of remember Hera Arena, and then you had the building, and then out towards the parking lot, and then there was that old golf course that was across from the parking lot. Well, that was the leach field of Hera Arena. It was not connected to the main sewer line. It had its own leach field. Well, it was it was overloaded. The brown trouts were flowing. It was crazy.
And let me just tell you, the diet of the ham radio operators does not lend itself kindly to this situation. They are eating nothing but terrible food for your body, and it's the kind of food
was
that
awful.
needs to pass quickly. Like it has to go. So yeah,
It was brutal. Yeah. Oh God, that one restroom set outside Audio Alley. It's you came out and you kind of went off to the right and went through another area. It was like, holy smokes, these poor people. I don't know how they handled that that space. It was like, oh my God.
No, come back. Come back. Come on.
Don't mind the
But
corn
it
skins.
stinks.
It'll be gone soon. No, they won't stop eating out there. This is bad news. Oh man,
And
that's so
it
funny.
was, it was, there was the people that were downstream were horrified. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, I bet they
And
were.
but overall, it's led for for many years of stories. And there's people, they don't believe it. It's like, yeah, it happened. I was there. I saw it. Been there, done that.
It's
Didn't
been
step on it, but I saw the brown trouts.
this just in.
100 watts and a wire. News.
It has been characterized as a volcano effect. Toilets bursting, brown trout. Details coming up later. Oh my, let's talk about this week in radio history. The brown trout. That's a nickname nobody wants to get. That one for sure. There might be someone here in the chat that we could refer to as brown trout, but
Oh, that's be a good nickname for something.
the idea that they were floating and swimming along in this endless sea of
Oh, they were swimming along.
I'm sure later on there was some dried up ones going, I guess the water stops coming. We'll just die here on this hill.
Like a worm on the sidewalk.
Oh, man. Well, thank you for that, Steve. That first-hand account from a man who was there. Let's mark it and send this to the
Excellent.
broadcasting history, whatever. May 16th, 1946, Jack Mullins demonstrates a magnetophone at the Institute of Radio Engineers Convention. The magnetophone, Steve, do you remember this? It was a magnetic tape recording and playback device used by Germany during World War II. Mullins used the technology to design his own line of tape machines and founded the Ampex Corporation. How would you know about that, Scotty? Of course, Scotty found that one.
Yeah.
He lives in
Ampex. May 20th, 1901. We were all much smaller and younger back then. Different day. Reginald Fessenden applies for the high-frequency dynamo. They were short on names back then, I think. Brown Trout, brought to you by Brown Trout. This portion of the show. His patent and his works went toward developing a wireless telephone system. His HF dynamo is essentially an AC alternator that creates a continuous HF signal carrier, which could then be modulated. This became the foundation of AM radio transmission. So Reggie, we used to call him Reggie. Typically, Mama called him Reginald Fessenden. And in May 24th, 1844, Morse telegraphs. What hath God wrought?
Jesus Christ.
From Washington, D.C. to Baltimore. And there you have it.
Good
I want to tell you about PowerFilm Solar and Gigaparts. This is the time, friends. I mentioned it a little earlier that I was told they'll probably pump the brakes, pause, and evaluate the data. This is how it goes. That's a nice way of letting me off the hook, saying, we'll wait. Maybe we won't come back. I don't know. We'll see. But one way and one easy way that you can help is completely transparent between us. You know that's family. Our Hamley. So fam, PowerFilm Solar and Gigaparts are providing quality solar power solutions for your portable operating needs. You might need something for the tune-up. To explore PowerFilm's selection of quality products, visit gigaparts.com and search 100 watts. Again, if you do that, oops, let me get that. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong buttons here. Pardon. That's enough of that teletype machine. Thanks. Go to gigaparts.com /100 watts and just click click around, look around. Those clicks will be evaluated at some point, and they'll determine if they want to come back and sponsor. Again, I'm not tripping either way, but this is just how this kind of business works. They want to see engagement from you guys. If you want to open up a browser now as you listen or watch, click it. Maybe it'll help. I don't know. I'm not so sure. But you can, if you find value in this, we are what we call listener supported. Mostly our community supports us. And if you dig it, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/100watts. It's an easy way to support. You can go to the website. You can look for the gear, get yourself a sweatshirt or a hat, whatever you want to do. Or just hang on. Hang on and do what you want to do. We have a dipole level, which is $1 an episode. And so for just $4 a month, which is actually cheaper than a cup of coffee from the capital where Steve lives out there of Starbucks, I think they get more than that for one cup of brew.
Yeah.
So
It's
visit.
pricey.
It's crazy, right? And people are lined up to do it all day, every day, at all times of the day. So good on Starbucks for making that cash. But you can support the content you enjoy in the community at Buy Me a Coffee. Thanks to a few people. Marcus Leader, Kevin, he's KE2VN. Great call sign if your name is Kevin for sure. Also, Kilo Charlie 0, Kilo Yankee X-Ray. Garth is his name, so Garth, and I think it's Garth Miller. Also, K0LTL and K4LSM for being new supporters of the 100 Watts and Wire podcast. We appreciate it. And now, as per his contract, a proper introduction must be done for Scotty. Kilo Charlie 3 Bravo X-Ray November.
Okay.
He's got some events. I'm working on it, man. I'll work on it. I'll do better next time.
I like where
it?
it's headed. I like
Okay,
where, I
it's
like where
a
you're
good,
going with it.
It's a good start. I'm supposed to end with like either an animal, like a moose sound. I can't get the. I got to make the sound of a moose. Like it's got to be a big, strong animal. So I'm working on that. Scotty,
So
what's
make the
going
sound
on?
of a brown trout.
Yeah, the brown trout. Dude, how do they hook on good or what? They just kind of push right out of their lip. Good grief.
What is going on? Let's see. Next weekend, May 27th, 28th, we have the CQ Worldwide Worked All Prefixes Contest, the CW version. Also, this week is National EMS Week. N4E, November 4 Echo is doing a special event station out of Gainesville, Florida. May 22nd through the 28th, Indianapolis 500 race number 2 underway, W9IMS. You can make the contact and know that the race won. It had a lot of action going on. Mm-hmm. May 26th and 27th, Vietnam Veterans Memorial Special Event Station in Kilo 9 Victor out of Columbia City, Indiana. As having a special event station. May 15th through the 25th, Dog Island, Islands on the Air, the expedition on North America, number 085. I think that was Dog Island, Florida Gulf Coast, I think. It's KD4 is the special event call for that setup. And you can see a list of these and more on our events channel on the Discord server. Back to you, Brown Trout.
You cannot call the boss brown trout. Oh, I'll see you in my office on Monday. Ain't that a mess? Back to you, brown trout. Thank you, baby Swiss. I'll just be really old AM or early FM broadcasters, and they called each other all kinds of strange things. Okay, baby Swiss, back to you. Back in the studio. Sunny skies with you, baby. Here's Looking Glass and Brandy. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about, see, this is the problem. We get together and just nothing can get done here.
No productivity whatsoever.
No, I had an idea. And
whatsoever.
No, we can't do that.
Out the door it goes.
The tune-up's coming up, though, June 9th, 10th, and 11th, any band, any mode. Anytime that weekend, there'll be some stations. Several of them are probably here in the chat. You're looking at 3 stations here that'll be there. And you can come, you can chase, you can get on and operate yourself. It is encouraged to get portable if you can. Not everybody has a portable station, and we know that. So you can be at home in the comfort of your own shack if it's hot as hell, sweaty and hot and damp like the Gordos. then stay inside, cool them off, keep them cool. Get the big fan open, spread them out, and get the big box fan going.
It's probably best to be inside if you're spreading the Gordos out. You don't want to be outdoors.
Preferably.
Put the box fan behind you so you don't suffocate yourself. Come on now, think about it technically. Anyway, June 9th, 10th, and 11th, we encourage you to get out, get portable. And this time of year, we get these really nice days, and I'm hoping we have something in early June. Used to be, until we turned into New Seattle around here, that, it rains all the time. It's raining, and then all of a sudden, boom. Now we're at 82 as we are, half past 6 p.m. We talk about operating portable, and I want to talk a little bit about putting what I heard. There's some talk about Florida. We probably will be doing sometime splitting time. At least Mama, I mentioned on an earlier podcast, Mama's got a really good gig. I'm really proud of her. She's going to be going down to Florida. And if my situation works out, I'll be going too. If not, we'll be doing a little bit of commuting. Be that as it may, we've been talking about more portable. I don't know what I'm going to be up against at this point, and I certainly won't have it like I do here at the homestead, where I'm, I can do whatever I want pretty much as long as I want to get out there and play around in the trees. And so I've started to get my head in this mindset of like, okay, you got a mobile, you can do mobile, you can drive and do whatever. And portable. Maybe you're going to be a portable guy for a while when you're doing that in case you can't. And I think there is an interesting, there's plenty of HOA. Everybody doesn't like HOAs and that kind of stuff. But I mean, there are folks that try to get stealthy, and we can talk about that kind of as we go and do some stealthy stuff. But in terms of the tune-up, being portable and kind of getting out there, there's a thrill about it. You know what I mean? Kind of finding that spot, and everything's different all the time, and you're setting up these different things. Let me go to Scotty on this, because I know of this team, he was early into it. He was into the parks, and that's a good portable, operation. And what I like about it is, you drive up into certain places and, well, damn, I don't have a tree. Maybe I'll use my vertical such and such, or I'll use my, Scotty, talk a little bit about portable operations and what you dig about it, and maybe what you're thinking about for tune-up.
Yeah. So I got into Parks on the Air kind of in their early days because they're kind of a Maryland. The president is out of Maryland, so I kind of got hip to them when I first got my general, which was cool. And then I immediately put together a portable rig. I didn't have much radio gear at the time. Probably more than I need right now, as we all do. But I put together a four space as a rack. It's a kind of a padded rack for carrying audio gear. It's a 4U, I believe, and a couple of those shelves you can put in and racked up a bunch of stuff. A FT450, a Kenwood TM281, the 2-meter rig, and a couple other little things. And that became my go-to portable thing, and it still is to this day. Take it camping, use it on field day, carry it around with me. Antennas, I got into the Wolf River Coil vertical. They're very popular. A lot of folks are using those, and I got into those and used that for a while. I had fun experimenting with different radial setups and making capacity top hats for it. I had some old taper reels, some flanges from the studio, so I was making top hats for it and trying to center load it, and had a lot of fun with that. Using aluminum window screening seems to be a hot new trend with the Wolf River coils now. I noticed on the POTA Facebook page, there's tons of folks using aluminum screen underneath, just like a 8-foot section or a 7-foot section long of 36-inch wide screen for replacing screens on your windows, and just plop in their tripods right on top of that and using that as their radio field, and everyone's claiming great results with that. So might try that out sometime this summer, maybe field day.
What is it about portable operations that kind of, and maybe it's your situation at home too, I don't want to tip you or lead you in any direction. What is it about getting out and being portable that you like?
there's like this freedom to it that I really enjoy. Especially if you find a nice spot in the park or go camping. I like the idea of trying to find a cool spot to try out an antenna. I like the idea of being out in the woods or out in the open, it's fresh air. I enjoy the strange looks I get from people that might be walking by at the park, and talking to them about radio. But yeah, it's kind of it's like the challenge of being there. I have this stuff, and I'm trying to make some contact with somebody on the air, and I got a bag up with some wire in it, and I got this little radio and a little battery, and it's challenging, it's fun, and it's sort of like there's a freedom to it I can't really describe, and it's different than being here in the shack where I'm tethered to all this stuff. I can kind of grab my stuff and just wander off and
Steve,
throw up a wire and be on the air. It's great.
Steve, we always talk about kind of getting out, exercising your mind and your body some, and your equipment, and those kind of three factors. And thinking about your mind, exercising your mind, that doesn't sound hippie trippy or me or whatever. I really do think, like Scotty said, there's a challenge to have everything that you need. And maybe it depends on what you take it, right? I've heard stories, and there's probably some people here with us tonight or listening that have forgotten that one simple thing. And it's like, ugh, and then it could be the linchpin, or that kind of deal. Talk a little bit about kind of getting yourself in the mindset of what you'll need and packing out and that kind of deal.
Well, yeah, it's like, going anywhere, and you try to take what you need, what you can get by with. The way I look at it, it's like, okay, I need this, 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 and this, and then go from there, and then go, all righty. But at the same time, being flexible that stuff happens, and either you forget something, you thought you had it packed in with your gear, you forgot that you've taken it out of the case to use it somewhere else, and then you go out into the field, and it's like, oh, and not vapor locking and saying, okay, I don't have this, how can I overcome it? So it's on that part, it's the challenge of overcoming what you have and making it work, and then just being out in the open and out in the wherever environment you're at, whether it's in a park or out in the middle of the desert or on the beach or somewhere. And it's like, okay, this is what I have. These are my components that I have here. These are what I can do to put up my, my antennas. So I can make this antenna or use this antenna or whatever. And, thinking through the process, and then actually putting it all together and being successful, making contacts. And then from there, doing it again, and then try and make improvements and stuff. But I think the biggest thing is just getting out. And like Scotty says, I mean, we're pretty hamstrung. I'm hamstrung to all this stuff here. And it's like, okay, I know, I got this, I got that, and boom, boom, boom. But out into the field, you got what you brought. And if you forgot it, then it's like, well, man up and figure it out and move on.
Run what you brung.
A lot of good parts
exactly
about setting up antennas. You get your steps in too. You get out there and you move your body around, and you're activating your mind. You got your body going, and then you're exercising this equipment. Whether or not you take out your base station, like some of the smaller rigs are suitable for that. You can do both. That's what's beautiful about them. You could take your whatever radio out into the field if needed. But exercising that equipment, maybe it's a backup radio, or maybe it's one you just picked up along the way and you want to try it, getting into the menus. And I always add this, I don't know if it's me or if anybody else does. If any of this is resonating with any of you that are here, click on that thumbs up and give us a thumbs up and let us know if any of this stuff is resonating with you. But I add in an extra layer for myself, because I don't, I just kind of add in almost an emergency element to it. Like, what if I had to get out? Like, what if it's an emergency and I'm the only thing? And I don't like depress myself, but I'm kind of thinking that way. Like both of the fellas said, there's a freedom to getting out there. There's a different look everywhere you might go. You might have a different setup. So, okay, you got a plan B. If that's going to work out, I got a plan B. I'm actually thinking through the steps. But then I add this extra layer for myself it's kind of the emergency communications, right, with the power. And maybe I'm monitoring my battery. And I got to say, I was one of the guys, and maybe this is like you too, let us know, where I packed too much stuff. Like I took as much as my truck would hold. I didn't want to get stuck not having what I needed, so I took too much. And then after that summer or whatever it was, I cut it back dramatically. Like I started cutting away. And then you start to feel like, well, all right, am I really editing things down the right way, or am I shooting myself in the ding ding here by being out there and not having it? So I add that whole layer. There's kind of a 3-prong approach to the portable ops. And I think the reason why the parks are so interesting is you got a different view every time. You know, it's something different. It's something cool. And anyway, June 9th, 10th, and 11th, that's what we're doing for the 100 watts in a wire. Tune up. If you have any questions, put a Q in front of them. We can talk about that if you'd like to talk about it. I want to know what you're going to use. Go to our Discord server. We have a tune-up channel in there now. You can tell us what you're going to use. We'd love to hear it. And you might have the idea that we're all looking for. It could be very simple. And maybe next week we'll talk about what we'll take out in the field. I've got like a bag of antennas that I'm thinking through right now. So I'm kind of like, I don't know. We'll see. Put one up and the other one might get jealous. Maybe I need to put them all up. I don't know. I'm going to do this for 20 minutes. I'll take them all. Like that's kind of it, right? Let us know what you're going to do. We'll talk about that maybe next week as we work our way toward the tune-up. And I think we've got some more business that we need to handle here before we get to. Do we still got some business? Yeah, we got some events going on. All right, so we'll do that. Oh, yes, there's the music. All right, so let's check it out. You can visit our website at 100wattsinawire.com. If you're interested in getting your 100-watt ID, it also puts you on our mailing list. I need to get a little bit better at that and maintaining our mailing list. I got everybody's stuff, but I don't send out messages in bulk. But it does put you on our mailing list for when we have special things. And we talked about this a little bit. Steve and I have talked about this because I think our boy Scott hit it. I think our boy Scotty is out hosting in the town of Ellicott City on Friday nights doing his karaoke. I think it's called Naked Karaoke with Scotty and his friends. I don't know. It's like the Dead and Friends. He's got like, just whip it out Wednesday and Friday naked night. Naked karaoke is the thing in Ellicott City.
Kelly hosts a karaoke night on Friday nights.
We're coming, right?
It's trolley stop in Ellicott City. It's right down the bottom of the hill. Yeah, every Friday night she hosts a karaoke night there. So I was helping her out first couple nights, but my Friday nights are generally free if I want and need them to be.
All right. Well, we're talking about doing maybe a monthly members cohort, and this cohort would be the people who are members and supporting members, and having a special, maybe on a Friday night where we get together and we share our projects. We talk about things we're struggling with, maybe share some ideas as a cohort, as a benefit of being a member and a supporter of 100 Watts in a Wire. So I encourage you, buymeacoffee.com if you want to, because we're going to start that up and make it very casual, but maybe we'll go around the room and see what people are working on and try to help lift each other up a little bit as well. So it's a benefit of becoming a member. And maybe some pictures of some naked folks from Ellicott City. We can do that, right, Scotty?
Yeah. Shayna's in there. Man. She's throwing Brown's Hotel shots at me in the chat. Yeah.
Okay. don't set my boy off in there. Scotty,
wow.
What kind of...
Yeah, the brown trout's down at the Browns.
Something else.
They call it the Browns Hotel.
I'm canceling my reservations to the Browns.
Naked karaoke and brown trout for dinner.
We're going to be hitting
and
some of
then Ben will do the naked yoga, on Saturday nights.
Oh, yeah, the downward dog. That's something else when he does that.
Naked yoga, brown trout, po' boy, and naked karaoke.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Events are here. We've got some questions to get to. If you have a question, put a Q in front of it. We'll try to get it in there, so to speak, and we've got some questions we're going to answer right after Scotty tells us about what events are happening now.
What do we got coming on this weekend?
The sexy event catalog, or Let me take two. The sexy calendar, brought to you by Scotty KC3BXN. Now, I'm working on the moose call. I know I put it in the contract.
We're working on the moose knuckle.
Yeah, that's a tough nut to crack right there. Scotty, go!
All right, we got some Hamfest coming up. We have on the 27th, Wormfest in Pinellas Park, Florida. On the 27th, also Barra Springs Hamfest, Township of Washington, New Jersey. That's up in Pastor Joe and Uncle Paul's neighborhood. Area anyway. Eastern New Mexico Amateur Radio Club Hamfest, Clovis, New Mexico on the 27th. Also on the 27th, the Scioto Valley Amateur Radio Club Hamfest in Piketon, Ohio. And then one I just found out about, literally right down the street in West Friendship, Maryland, the Maryland FM Association's Memorial Day Hamfest, West Friendship, Maryland, which is
Nice.
just on the far side of the county. That's on the 28th. And that's all I got here. You can see these events and other things on the events channel on our Discord server.
All right, and if you are looking for a power solution, check out Bioenno Power, offering the best lithium phosphate batteries for your ham radios. Visit bioennopower.com. That's BIOENNO power.com. All right, well, thank you for that. Oh, okay. Cut the music. All right, we got some questions to get to. I want to make sure we give them enough time. If you have a question, you know what to do. Put it in the chat. And anybody listening to this, we appreciate you, and you can join us Sundays at 6 o'clock. Most times, we take off the high holidays when it is like Mother's Day and things like that. Okay, here we go. Let's get our first question up for this week. Steve, what is Heliax and the benefits of those?
Heliax is basically it's a coax, but it is solid copper. Typically, it's either corrugated or kind of a spiral. It's half. It could be as small as 1/4 inch. It could be standard sizes is 1/2 inch, 7/8, 1 1/4 inch, and 5/8. They go up to 3 inch. But the typical that we find in our hobby, you'll find 1/2 inch and 7/8, and you'll probably find some 1 inch and 5/8.
Scotty wants to
around.
he wants to show us a
Oh,
1/4
actually,
inch. Show us
I
your
actually have
1/4
a-
inch, Scotty.
I have a piece
Some-
of Heliax right here.
Right there, yeah.
What happened?
So there it is. So yeah, the outer jacket is solid copper, and then the center conductor. So if you kind of pan it around there, you kind of see it's a silver, but that's aluminum, and then there's a copper plating on the center conductor. So the benefits are that it's much lower loss versus like RG8 or RG58 or 8X. So it is if you're going to have a long run of and you really want to reduce your losses because you want all the power at the antenna not to be eaten up at the in the feed line, then Heliax is an option. I run 200 feet of Heliax from my antenna panel outside up to my beam, and it's 1/2 inch, and just to reduce the losses on HF, and because it's we're talking a 200-foot run, and but if it was farther, most people that have towers or antennas that are quite a distance away from their radio operating position, they'll use Heliax, and that's one benefit of it.
Okay.
100 watts and a wire.
And the big disadvantage is the cost. It's very expensive, both for the connectors and the cost per foot. So
This just in, Scotty and I are starting a band called Heliax Run. More on that later in this show.
run, baby, run.
All right.
When's
thank
the
you for
Heliax double bazooka coming, Steve?
that. Ooh, it sounds heavy.
Ooh. Yeah, it's going to be a heavy one.
Somebody asked on YouTube's if you got that. What was it? The one you were thinking about, the maypole type of double bazooka.
I've talked about maypole antennas, which are just
Right.
basically a fan dipole, but you've just set them up in a maypole configuration, and we could do one, and I thought of maybe building one with a fan dipole double bazooka. So
That sounds really nice.
and we could do it in a maple also. So
There's a question coming in from the chat from Big Ben, dirty mouth
Ben.
pirate he is. Heliax, at what distance should you consider using it?
I would say a couple 100 feet and beyond. It all depends. Look at what you're comfortable with, the loss you're going to run, and what frequency you're operating on. So for on 2 meters and UHF, if you're going to have anything over 100 feet, then you want to run Heliax. That's because you're just going to lose too much. On UHF, a 100-foot run is going to be about 3 dB, give or take. It could be more than that, could be 4 dB. So half your power is going to be eaten up in the coax, and then you're just you want to reduce those losses. So it depends on what frequency you're running, Ben, and where you're and how long your run is going to be, and then your cost benefits. If you can make up the gain with the antenna, then you can negate the losses. But if you really can't, then think about reducing the losses. So it's a number of factors you got to look into.
A question from Sheena Marie. She's the 0.001% of our audience, which means the ladies. Sheena Marie wants to know, what is the loss of LMR 600? This may be one that would require a touch of research, but if you don't know that off the top of your head, Steve, is there a calculator?
It's lower than LMR 400 because it's a bigger cable, but I would have to look it up because that's a cable that I commonly don't work around, but it will be definitely less than 400.
Okay, cool. All right, here's a question. What is the best location to mount a mobile antenna that we've seen? Right on the top. He's pointing to the top of his head there, right on the top.
Right on the top of the roof or of the vehicle. That is the best.
Okay.
But other things to consider. If you're parking your vehicle in a garage, then putting the antenna on the roof might not be the best of places. If you're comfortable drilling a hole in the top of the roof of your antenna of your vehicle, but ideally and we're just talking about VHF, UHF, that would be the most ideal place because now you have the biggest ground plane and the most effective.
Okay, good to know. All right, thank you for that question. Let's see if anybody has another. You could drop it in. We've got some time here left in this episode. Another question. What's the best way to start building radios?
Oh, okay. Well, this one is building radios.
Let's cut over to the new Scotty Shack here. As we're looking, go back and watch as you listen. I'm going to cut the Scotty built this new bench, and it gives everybody what they call the chubby. So anyway, that'll be on the show them to look at the bench. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead, Steve.
You may have noticed a different background now. I have the Maryland flag is no longer hiding a mess of shelving. I've picked up a $99 cheap workbench from the Harbor Freight and tricked it out and got not all my stuff on it, but some of the stuff. I even put a little camera up there and
look at that.
Do some videos and stuff. Maybe build some things. But I have just got into wanting to build a radio. So I it's going to be it's going to be like a little half watt thing or something. And I've started. I just came up. I can't believe that this show has been off of my radar for so long, but I just started listening to the Solder Smoke podcast, Bill Mara and Pete Giuliano, and those guys. That's all the podcast is about. Is this them? They're building their little radios on a piece of copper board, and so I'm been enthralled with it. And apparently they've been doing this podcast since like 2015 or something like that. And that's all they do is little radios. So they have lots of projects to follow along with, so that's where I'm going to start building my radio.
Interesting. All right, good piece of info. Anything to add to that, Steve?
I'm still kind of hung up. Is you're actually building the radio or you're building a radio station, and but it's what do you want to start out building, and what's your ultimate goal? If you're building from scratch, and you're building a radio. want to build a transmitter or start with a transmitter? Is it going to be CW? Is it going to be solid? So if it's a CW or AM, is it going to be solid state? Or are you going like a vacuum tube, like the Bob Heil Pine Board project was, where it was everything. It was just a tube, and then the wiring of that, the power supply, and it was a really basic radio. And figuring out what band you're going to operate, getting the components and crystals and other things. It all depends. So I need a little more information on that question. Where to start on the building of the radio. But I think probably the first step is, what's your skill set? Are you think you're comfortable enough to do that? Are you comfortable enough and had enough practice soldering? Because soldering is kind of becoming a lost art, even though it's really common in our hobby. But a lot of people they don't know how to solder, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you haven't been exposed. But just your basic building set or skills to fabricate something is probably a good place to start. And be honest with yourself. If your soldering is kind of not where you think it is, practice. Keep doing it, and the more you do it, the better you'll get. And then you can tackle that project of a radio, building a radio or whatever project you're going to be building.
I think the first thing would be building a receiver. I think like a direct conversion receiver would probably be the best place to start before getting into trying to build something that transmits. Because it's good stuff. I'm just getting into it myself. It's gonna be fun.
Don't forget the sage words of Bob Heil.
Don't get off axis. Oh no, you gotta suck it. You gotta be right here.
So it was a strange introduction to my ham radio experience. I've done some things I don't know have benefited my antenna system at all. But I had to listen to Bob, and so I did it. I just did it all. And next thing you know, that's where you are.
So before we go any farther, it looks like the chat room has answered Sheena's question. LMR 600 is almost exactly like same loss as half-inch Heliax. So, and then Ben came in there at 7,200. It's 0.2 dB per 100 feet, and or 0.7 dB per 100 meters. So there you go. So it's equivalent to half-inch Heliax.
Wow.
Good on you, Ben.
Dynamite!
Thank you, guys.
Way to help out. All right, we've done it again. As you're listening and watching now, we start our Sunday evening net. Steve's going to be running on 20 meters. That's still the plan, right? He's got a beam and he whips it around and he's like, hold on. Steve is one of these guys that are like, hold on, let me swing around the beam. And all of us non-beamers are like, son of a bitch, this guy's too damn clever.
Yeah.
Is it all right?
Swinging your Gordos
around.
around.
While I swing the beam around.
Hold on. I will get you
Here
in
we
just
come.
a second. We're going to need to swing the beam. Can you still hear me, girl? You hear me, right? Can you hear me now? Is it any better for you? So anyway.
Hot, sweaty beam.
So there you go. We fooled them again. 3 Alpha hotels wearing their sunglasses.
Get off my frequency.
You over there. Thank you all for coming by. We appreciate you live and our listening audience. If you're struggling with anything, we really want to know about it so we can try to help you. That's why we're here. We want to try to help people improve their systems and their understanding, and there's so much to know. If you ever run into anybody who pretends to know it all, punch them in the ding-ding. That means you, Sheena. That means you punch. All right. Well, thank you, Steve. W7UDI, we appreciate you. We'll be listening to you 7 o'clock on the central dial. He's going to be on 20 meters. And what frequency do you like? It's a touch too early, and I know you've been busy, but he kind of hangs around in a certain spot.
268 plus or minus, whatever. I'll post it in the Discord. I'll have it in the on the net logger. So or just spin the dial and find me, and we'll go from there. So we'll be getting a little bit of a delayed start. I got to take care of the dogs real quick, and then we'll be on the air here in a bit.
Take some time to swing that big beam around.
Scotty
Swing
has
the Gordos
a
around.
doctorate dissertation on swinging that beam and the Gordos, the effect of moisture on the human psyche. I can't wait to read it. Can't wait to read it. Thank you all for coming by. We appreciate you. Thank you, Scotty. Scotty is KC3BXN, providing a lot of the behind-the-scenes action, if you will. Woo! Join us again next week for episode number... Is that it? Well, we just paid for just a little bit of music? Is that how it ends? Oh, I'm going to say, strike up the band. Wasn't quite finished. We'll see you all again next time. Don't forget, June 9th, 10th, and 11th is the 100 watts in a wire tune-up. Sunglasses are optional. Maybe, should we pose for the thumbnail now? All you guys pose through, because the thumbnail will have to be something pompous with 3 dudes with sunglasses. Finding a good screen grab with the 3 of us not looking cockeyed and one eye open and one's yawning. Yeah, he's got it.
There we go. They got plenty to work for now.
Yeah. We'll find some good stuff in there. Appreciate you guys. Take care of yourselves. Look out for each other. And by all means, if you can, please try and stay above the noise. We'll see you on the air. See you next week. 7-3, guys.
7-3.
To join the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsindawire.com.